We meet again. I thought I'd try something different this week. I've been doing the covers for a little while and I really enjoyed those, but... Do you mind? So I've been doing the covers for a while, and while I really enjoyed those, I want to try something a bit different and challenge myself. So this is going to be an original song. This is something I've written. I've tried to set myself a challenge of doing something in that vein of 80s style pop that's quite popular at the moment. So think your 1975, your Shura, your Hard Times era Paramore. Bit of gated reverb on the snare, bit of synth, bit of chorusy guitar, kind of thing. So I'm doing this to kind of film the process of writing and recording it. I've done the lyrics and kind of laid out some chords already, but we're going to fill those out and do things first. I'm going to have a time lapse going, so we've got a bit more process in it. And yeah, we're just going to see how it goes. So what I have at the moment is just a scratch track, a kind of guide that I did, just me with an acoustic guitar, playing the chords, singing the lyrics, giving it a kind of rough layout. I've then started on the drums. I use Get Good Drums, which is a great contact library from Matt Halpin from Periphery. I use it for pretty much any drums because the samples are just so good. You can use them on pretty much anything so long as you manipulate the MIDI right. So I've got a rough kind of style of beat that I would be wanting to use. That kind of thing just on repeat throughout the whole song, just to give myself a guideline. So it is just before 6 o'clock on Friday evening. I'm going to try and get drums and bass done tonight. I have a bass line in my head that I want to work out, or at least parts of it, and I'll be recording that and sorting out the drum MIDI tonight, trying to mix those a little bit, get them set up for mixing them properly, and then tomorrow we'll be doing guitars, some synths and the vocals. So let's see how this goes. So it's now 6:26 and I decided to track the bass first because I had that idea kind of pretty formed in my head of how I wanted it. I wanted it a little bit slappy, I wanted it kind of a bit funky. I've used bias effects, specifically the ultimate bass tone, which I found. I've removed the reverb for now, I might put it back in later, but I'm going to glue that all together, put it into my kind of default bass setup, with compression and EQ and all sorts of things like that, and then I'm going to start really getting into the meticulous detail of the drums and how I want them. So, the MIDI for the drums is now all done, it's all as I want it, it's got all the little accents and things like that I want to put in, and it's all been, in the MIDI editor, humanized, so randomized on timing by about 8% and then on velocity by about 30%, just to give it a bit more of a human touch so that it feels slightly less like just a drum plugin being played by MIDI. Another thing that I've done to change that is I've varied the hi-hat, so instead of just having the one hi-hat note, we've got a couple of slightly different ones on different areas of the hi-hat, different open things on the hi-hat, so that we get more of a variation on the hi-hat. I'm really happy with how it's turned out. I think having the bassline track of the drums before there really helped. What I'm going to do now is output the drums to its separate different bits and put them into my nice pre-mixed drum bus things with some parallel compression and a reverb bus, and then mix it slightly with the bass, and then I think I'm going to call it a night, because that's going to be probably around 8:30 because it's about 7:30 now, and this takes quite a long time. Okay, so it's now Saturday, it's just about to hit 10:20. I'm about to start doing guitars. I've got the drums all mixed out and in some nice mix with the bass. And I retracked the bass because there were some bits that felt slightly out of beat with the new drums that I put in, so I retracked a lot of it. I do have some, hang on, some fairly nasty blisters going on from for all the bass yesterday, so today's guitar is going to be played with a plectrum. I'm going to be using Bias effects again to find some more 80s sounding guitar. I think I'm going to go for a kind of an offbeat up strum on a lot of the chords on these, and then kind of mix it up with some alternate picking and things like that. But we'll see how this goes. So I'll see you in a bit. Okay, so I've got one guitar part recorded. The sound isn't quite what I was going for, I've decided, so I'm going to have a little bit of fiddle with the effects, but the playing is what I want. So I'm going to have a bit of a fiddle with Bias effects, see what I can get out of it, and then I'll move on to the rhythm guitar. So I forgot to time-lapse doing the synth because I'm a moron. We've now got the synth. Now this nice kind of pad that's going on, but it's also got some alternating octave parts and just a bit of a nice 80s vibe to it. So I've got that mixed in below the guitars, but it's just kind of nice sitting under there, filling out the space when the guitars aren't going. What I'm going to do now, mix it a bit more so that I get a clearer idea of how it's going to sound, put some mastering stuff in again so I can get an idea of the final product. I'm going to take then a little break, and then I'm going to come back and do the vocals, and then that should be all done. Need is that three-word lie to come out of your lips, and then I'm terrified. So I have tracked vocals and double tracked the choruses, provided a little bit of backing vocals, and I'm going to do probably 2 more lines of harmony double tracked before I call it a day on the vocals. They sounded pretty good actually. Good. There's a low level hiss in the master chain which I need to identify. Now absolutely need to take a break to get something to eat, but I'll be back in a bit to finish off these vocals. So I did get something to eat. I recorded the 2 extra tracks of vocals, harmonies particularly. So now all of the vocals are done, and I thought I'd give you a quick walkthrough of everything we've got before we go into the video for the song. So first things first, we've just got our drum bus, that's getting all of our drum tracks. As well with the drums we have some parallel compression, which just brings out the kick and the snare slightly more. And then we've got our reverb track, just to give it a bit of space. And as well as that, I've put a gated reverb on the snare to give it that 80s feeling. On top of this, we've got our bass, so... Then we've got our rhythm guitar, which is a slightly floatier part, which contrasts with the very rhythmic lead part, which is this. Finally, as well as all of that, we have our synth playing. As well as this, we have our vocals, our wonderful, complicated set of vocals. So we have the lead track. All I really need is that 3-word lie. And then a double for that. All I really need is that 3-word lie. To thicken it up in the choruses, and then also in the choruses we have 1 harmony, which is double tracked. All I really need is that 3-word lie. And then a second one. All I really need is that 3-word lie to come out of your lips, and then I'm terrified. And then we have finally our little extra pieces, such as a count of 1, 2, 3, 4. I don't care, 1, 2, 3. 'Cause all I really need. and then an echo at the end of the chorus. And then all of that together sounds like... And then on my mastering bus, I've got a J37 tape plugin modelled on the J37 from Abbey Road. I've got a saturation plugin set in 100%, that's just stock with Reaper. I've also got the Other Waves mastering plugin, which is based on the Abbey Road console. And then I've got the Ozone 8 Elements from Isotope just to bring everything to a nice thick level. So now that the mix is all done, you can have a listen to the finished song. Enjoy the video.
Come on baby, I just wanna play. And so we roll the dice, we keep playing and it's nice. I can't wait for you to tell me all about your day. But we go on, we get things wrong. We scream and kick and fight through almost every night. And so I wrote you one more song, so we can bring this back down and make it right. 'Cause it takes two to fall in love, but it takes one to mess it up. And all is fair in love and war, but I don't care. All I really need is that three-word line to come out of your lips, and then I'm terrified. Whenever you say I don't know what to do, but all I really know is that I'm missing you. Tell me that I'm an old soul trapped in the body of a younger man. You say I'm too damn cautious, that my face just makes you nauseous. Well, I'm sorry, honey, but